All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tears of the Realms. Yes, this is our homebrewed, Cypher System powered tabletop RPG set in our weird, messed up homebrew version of the Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom flavor of Hyrule and the people below me. We're all having a lovely discussion about theater earlier. And
Surprising absolutely no one.
yeah, that's how it goes. So, announcements. I believe Lex may or may not have an announcement.
Yeah, hey, you know that theater thing that I got casted last week that I couldn't talk about? I can talk about it now. If you're in the Bay Area in January, come see Urinetown at South Bay Musical Theater. That's it. I get to be unhinged. It's fun.
Isn't
Cool
that your
stuff there.
default state?
I was about to
M
say,
more so. Thank you.
But Lex is allowed to do it on stage now.
So hang on, wait. Your sales pitch is that we pay money to see you be more unhinged than you usually are.
And I can dance and sing.
That comes with the yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
I
it's a
think this
bit.
is
Just
a
making
great
just
pitch.
making sure I had that straight.
Yeah. No, see, we spin it a different way. You're like, you know how unhinged Lex is normally? It's even more in Urinetown. Go see it. You have to check that out.
It's
There you go.
Also it's a fun musical. So
Yeah.
I only know what I've randomly paid attention to when you've been talking about it for the past 2 weeks, which is not a lot.
which is fair.
Was about a town named Urine.
Oh, the town is
It's
named
actually
Urine?
it's actually about a town
It has
that is
nothing to do with
ravaged
the show
by a
whatsoever.
severe water shortage. And literally everything is like you can't like private like restrooms are banned. So to do your business, you have to essentially pay at public facilities to do it. And if
You
you
have to pay
don't,
to go to the bathroom?
yes,
Yes. So Europe.
Is that Europe?
a lot of Europe.
Any public restroom, pretty much.
Well, I mean, any business in here, it's like, hey, pay for something and then you can use our bathroom.
No, but literally the public bathrooms, you have to put money into the bathroom itself. Anyways. Yeah. And then there's punishment if you don't stay in line.
What do you.
Not in Europe, in Urinetown, to be clear. I think I've
So
scared
anyway,
Elias. I have an announcement. My announcement is I have a problem, and that problem is basically ruining my bank account. But I bought another booster box of Stellar Crown, so we're gonna do an unboxing on stream.
they have some very pretty cards in
They
in
really
that set.
do. Yeah. There's some very nice ones. So it should be a
Also,
good
go
time.
Mets.
Excuse me.
I said what I said.
Oh, by the way, Jax, I'm sorry about the, Padres, except not really.
Sports ball.
I didn't realize there were Mets fans still. Of course, I'm a Brewers fan, and we haven't had a winning season in like half a decade. So
Lex
Are we
actively
talking about
forsook the East
baseball?
Coast, yet still roots for its stuff.
Okay.
It became real.
My answer is both the San Francisco and San Jose Giants. Major and minor league, baby.
They're both very good. I've now, my love for the Mets was a bit, and then it became real because then they started actually being good. And now I'm in.
So you're not a real fan. You're not
yeah,
with
you're
I'm
one of
them
those
because
become-
they're
fair
bad.
weather fans.
Yeah.
And What about it?
So yeah, I enjoy the game when I'm winning. Why is that a weird thing?
Well,
So
yeah.
in San Jose, there is a spot where we had San Jose State's marching band practice field, and then a couple blocks up is Happy Hollow, where I worked for 2.5 years, and right between them is the San Jose Giants baseball stadium. And an ice hockey rink, but the stadium. So when I lived at home but was still going to college, I would finish marching band practice, and then I would walk in because no one's checking tickets for a minor league game when it's approaching the end of the game. So I'd walk in with my trombone in case, and I'd find my parents, and I'd go sit by them and their friends, and we'd finish watching the baseball game and then drive home. It was a great time. I've never seen a full game from the San Jose Giants, though.
I went to their Pride game this year. They won. It was great.
I miss in Milwaukee. We used to have County Stadium, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stadium, and then they demolished it to create what used to be called Miller Park, and now I don't know who owns the naming rights, but everyone still calls it Miller Park. And it's a nice stadium, but it's not County Stadium.
I miss Candlestick. That's football, though. I played the last game that was in that stadium. I was part of the halftime show. That was nice.
Anyway, so sports ball is fun. Other announcements.
I got nothing.
I was about to say, it's still Linktober. People are still doing really awesome stuff for Linktober. If you really want to have some fun and you have nothing to do for a little bit, just go to Twitter and search hashtag Linktober, and you can see all the different artwork that people are posting on there. And a lot of it is really, really cool stuff, and people get very, very creative. And I believe, is ZU doing something on the website for Linktober? Like, are they... I thought we were doing something involving Linktober on the website.
We work with them a bit. I don't know if we're doing anything specific. We're doing an art contest, and I think that's
Oh, there we
about
go.
as much as what we're doing.
So check out ZeldaUniverse.net because there's cool stuff on there.
Cannot believe you're asking the media people what publications people are doing.
Yeah, it's nonsense. I can't. I feel bad for expecting you guys to know that stuff. So
I'm sure you do.
I've stopped. I don't have emotions anymore.
So, are the urinals coin operated, or how do you
Yes.
have to pay?
Yes.
Because you
You
can just
pay-
pee into the urinal and not have to use
You
anything on
you're-
it.
So they are not large public restrooms. There's like individual, and you coin operate to unlock the door.
Oh, not in
Get
the
yourself
devices
in.
themselves.
No, not the devices themselves, into like the entire place where the urinal toilet is kept.
Okay, well, is there a forest nearby?
I mean,
Parks,
depending on which
maybe?
part of Europe you're in.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about
Technically,
nearby
the
in
Black
Urinetown.
Forest is a thing.
No,
I'm talking about
No,
Urinetown.
no. Urinetown does not have forest nearby.
Oh, no shrubbery or trees for cover.
No, and it's illegal to pee outside of the pay to pee.
Well, of
areas.
course it is, but that's not going to stop people from doing it.
I'm pretty sure this was our conversation before we went live, so this is very out of context for anyone else.
No, we talked about it when Lex announced.
When Lex announced it, we talked about it.
Okay. Just felt out of nowhere.
I mean,
Of
you're
all
right,
of
but
the of all of the subjects for a major Broadway musical, this one ranks up there on the meter.
more than the Phantom of the Opera sequel.
Oh yeah.
You know how that one.
No, see, there's a difference. You're like, you're in town. That's a strange concept. The Phantom, you're like, oh, it's a sequel. And then you go to it and you're like, oh, this is shit. It's very different. You go to your town, you're like, oh, This
Yeah,
is
the
good.
difference here is that Urinetown's a fun musical and Love Never Dies is a lot.
Yeah. So one is more surprising concept-wise, but that one is also much better than the other.
I mean, when you look, I mean, if you just give the concept of a bunch of major Broadway musicals, like, we're going to do a musical about the Newsboys strike of the early 1900s.
Hey, you remember that Disney movie that wasn't super successful? Um, let's turn it into a Broadway show.
Let's hire Harvey Firestein to write the libretto for it. Who is one of my
And then
heroes. The dude is so
and
cool.
then every musical theater tenor did that show. Me included.
It's a good show. I wanted to do it when I was in high school. It
destroys
just
me.
didn't exist.
We need more shows featuring women. Thank you,
We-
suffrage.
We need more shows where bases aren't the bad guys. Like I would love. Lex mentioned before we were going live that he was working on finding a way to die on stage. I spent like 6 years where I didn't survive to curtain call ever. I always died.
Have I ever died on stage?
It's not as much fun as it sounds, especially when one of the dying scenes involves the football player that's playing curly tackling you in the direction of the orchestra pit and not realizing how close you are to the orchestra pit when he tackles you and almost falling into the orchestra pit.
I've slapped someone on stage.
That's another fun one.
I've pushed people off stage.
Hopefully not into the orchestra pit.
No, into the wings, but I definitely pushed harder than I should have.
Yep.
He was an annoying 9-year-old child. To be fair, I was
He flew!
I was like 11 at the time, but I've been this same height since I was 10, and at the age of 6, I picked up an uncle. So I was rather strong as a child. Yeah.
I had a rehearsal once where it was me, the director, and the girl that was playing the female lead, and I was playing the bad guy. And so the director, who had years and years and years of experience, as we're doing the scene, my character's getting more aggressive and more offensive and things like that. And so the director just goes, you know what you should do here? And he just slaps me. But he does a stage slap. And so it doesn't hurt, and I was familiar enough with it, and I just kind of went with it, and it worked perfectly fine. Didn't hurt at all. The girl, however, first of all, was captain of the volleyball team. Second of all, had no idea what a stage slap was. And when she did it, she wound up, hit me on the side of the head around my temple. And I was already planning on like going with it to make it look good. I went to the floor. And we were rehearsing right before the girls' choir was about to have their rehearsal. And so we have like 40 girls that are all in the room watching us do this. And as they all heard this slap that could have been heard throughout the entire school and watched me just collapse to the floor after it, the barometric pressure in the room dropped as everyone just went, and I just stayed on the floor for a little bit and went, can we not do that?
And that was
Damn.
how Jody lost his head.
Yes, that was the beginning of my mental deficiencies. Was getting my
No, I meant
plot-
physically lost your head, but sure, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that too. This is a spare. I was never able to get it back. So I've been just using a loaner for decades.
That's crazy.
Hate to know what that repro looks like.
Lord.
Anyway, any other anything else we need to talk about?
We officially announced that MHQ-thon would be December 4th through 8th.
Woo!
Yay!
Hype.
And I, as a result of that announcement, accidentally started MHQ's Instagram account. So
They
Congratulations.
say accidentally. Oh no.
It's one of those.
I have the same announcement I have every time, which is hire me, world. Please and thank you.
She has a rather interesting resume, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, you want to talk about hieroglyphs? We can talk about hieroglyphs. You want to talk about games? We can talk about games.
if you send me your resume, I can just leave it on screen during this opening part.
I truly don't think you want to do that because in academia, it's called a curriculum vitae. And
Yes, the /CV of the resume /CV.
Yeah. And the thing is resumes have a page limit.
They should, but they don't.
Yeah, I was about to say.
CVs are longer documents.
I worked in retail and I got multi-page resumes
Yeah, I would
for
expect like
entry-level
a
positions.
2-page resume as like the max for most jobs. My CV currently is apparently 12 pages.
So what I'll do is I'll leave it on a slow auto scroll, and if it ever loops by the time we're still talking, we know we've been talking for too long.
Damn.
I'll send you a version that doesn't include my references because I don't want to put their contact info out there like that.
Oh,
All
that's
these
that's
people that
three
have worked at
pages
iLabel
gone
before
already.
Just start getting random calls. So, what are your opinions about Zelda?
Yeah, it is technically 2 pages gone. So it makes my CV only 10 pages. It's
Only.
fine.
The basic rule of thumb in most businesses is your resume is a page, and then you either have a cover letter or references. Like if you have written references, they're a separate document.
References are good to be separate. I think if your resume is ever more than a
References should
page,
be on request.
yeah, that's what. Yeah,
It's references are just standard for academic jobs, and a lot of them ask that the CV include references, so that's why it's here.
I think if your resume is ever longer than a page, it should only be for like an extremely senior level position that requires a lot of
And
experience
it
listed.
should only be 2 pages max.
Yeah, even then.
It should not
Yeah,
be.
no, you can't.
Even then, like 2 pages is the cutoff.
We had this person interview, like apply and go through the entire interview process for an entry-level sales position / shelf stocker position at an office supply store. And her resume included like 10 or 15 years working as the buyer for Kohl's, as in a person that would go out to trade shows and stuff, find stuff that they thought Kohl's would want to sell in their store, and then buy 20,000 of them for all the Kohl's stores and stuff like that. She came into she interviewed great, and I said at the end of the interview, I'm like, I really don't know why you're applying for this job. This is an entry level position, minimum wage. Like you're overqualified for this. It's like, well, I want to start at the bottom and kind of work my way up. I'm like, you're definitely going to do that. And so I make the offer of like $1 over minimum wage. She's like, well, I was thinking more along the lines of, 55, 60K a year. I'm like, yeah, you'd be making more than the store manager. No, there's no possible way you would ever get that pay in a retail store. Why are you wasting my time? So, the joys of retail. Zelda Universe TV. Come for the TTRPG. Stay for the resume advice.
Could do
That's what we're here for.
could do a whole podcast episode on that.
Oh yeah. Rule of 3 is useful. don't list things on your resume like attended meetings weekly because it makes it sound like
I'm guessing you've
makes
seen
it
that
sa-
more than once.
I had a family member who was attempting to get a job, and I said, "Hey, I have a business degree, and I used to do staffing. Would you like me to look over your resume?" And part of their resume was things like attended meetings weekly, and I'm like, "Yeah, don't list that." You go, "Well, why?"
They
Uh,
expect that.
I said, "If this is you bragging about the stuff that you did at your old job. If you're bragging about the fact that you could go to meetings, they're going to assume that you felt that going to meetings was a very difficult thing. And you don't want them assuming that. So, no, we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to rephrase this so that it doesn't sound like you're just really condescending. And then we will put everything in groups of 3 because the human brain likes 3.
Yeah. Odd numbers are better than even numbers for presenting work like that. As much as I'm team even, that's just the case. And you should focus on like results of things, not day to day like operation kind of stuff.
There's
I
like two
did
or
send a CV to our Zoom chat.
there was like 2 or 3 different posts because the person, like, most of their work experience was in administrative. They were administrative assistant. They were looking for an administrative assistant position, so that's perfectly fine. Um, but they just like the vast majority of stuff you do as an administrative assistant is relatively boring. It's very, very essential, um, but it's boring on a resume. And so I had to kind of coach him and go, you did other things though. Like, you've talked to me about some of the cool things that you did. Let's focus on the cool stuff and not about attending weekly meetings and doing the bare minimum of your job well. So anyway, I think with that, it's time to return to the tears of the realms. The science continues.
Oh god,
party-
Kiri's not here.
The party
Oh,
returned
no.
to the Minish tier with the intent of extracting a piece of the core crystal of that tier in the hopes that having this would allow them to leave tiers without needing to be in physical contact with the core tier crystal. However, as they attempted to use various methods to extract a portion of this crystal, they ran into difficulties. Most of the tools that they use seem to completely skate off the surface entirely. However, when Zariah used her vines to attempt to affect the crystal, the crystal itself started ringing, almost singing, this unearthly, loud tone. As they were experimenting more often, they discovered, at least in this tier, they didn't seem to need to make physical contact with the tier in order to leave it, though making physical contact seemed to make the departure happen faster. And that is where we return. So, most recently, I think when we left last time, somebody had just left.
Motto teleported and now it's back over, I think, in the main world.
I think Zariah followed suit. Is that right? No? Okay. Okay. I thought someone else had.
I thought there was two because I remember Motto left by touching the crystal, and then I thought somebody else just thought about leaving.
I touched
No,
the.
Dilly ended up touching the
I-
crystal
I
and going
touched the
back and getting
crystal.
fish.
No, we joked about that. It was I touched the crystal, went oh, what was the fun name we made for it?
We?
Tiki masala. That
Oh.
was it. Thought about that. It was too far away, and then we joked that I would end up back on our own place, because our lovely chef was making tikka masala. But I don't think that actually happened.
Okay.
I think that nothing happened during my exchange there.
So, yeah. So thus far, the big things that were revealed last time, you guys tried a bunch of different things, both from that tier and from regular Hyrule, and they all seem to kind of skate off the crystal. But you were able to discover that it doesn't seem like you technically need to touch the crystal to be able to leave, and touching the crystal doesn't instantly make you leave. So, what would y'all like to do?
I'm like in Hyrule on like a platform, right? Like
I
just a
thought
random.
you came back.
I don't
I
think
came
I
back.
did.
I came back.
Oh,
Matto
yeah,
has
he
not
came
come
back. Okay. So yeah, Motto, you're at the embarkation platform.
I'm gonna, because I'm still like somewhat injured.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
I'm not injured. I recovered. I am
Impaled by your own
technically
device.
No, I have regained all that stuff because I used my 2 recovery rolls to get back up. But I'm gonna take the parts of the shield that I made, bring them back to my little workshop,
Mm-hmm.
and at least drop them back off. And if I run into Steve, be like, so I made a slight tactical error trying to do something in that other tier, and it shattered the shield. We will, if we can try to recreate, cool. I'm gonna continue just looking at notes and seeing what we can do about some stuff, but we're just gonna leave it and come back. Because
Steve says nothing. He just continues to pick up the various pieces of the shield and just look at them and look at you, and then another one.
yeah, it's a long story. I don't have a lot to explain.
A few of them have blood on them.
Yep, that again, another time.
You're right, Adestra. I did end up going because that's how we figured out the time correlation change.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna try to go back, I guess.
Yeah, the whole process to do all of that with teleportation and everything, let's say it takes you the better part of an hour. So he would have been gone for about 2 hours of your guys' time.
Wait, I thought it was the opposite.
Yep. However, so he's gone for half an hour then.
Okay.
Math is really hard, guys. Like,
That's why
And
I
then
don't do it.
reverse math? Oh.
yeah.
Oh God, I hate reverse math. Ugh. Tell me to do math backwards, bro. You're crazy. Be for real.
Okay, so you and Dilly left?
Yeah, and then I come
didn't-
back.
I
quickly.
didn't get to lead, except I gathered plants.
Yeah.
happened.
She didn't leave the tier though, but she
They.
went off and gathered things. Sorry.
Okay. So remaining in the Minish Realm so far are myself,
You still
Dilly,
have-
Aino, and Hubari.
Yeah.
Well, Fubar is kind of trapped here, but okay. Well, Dilly, do you want to wait to see if they come back? To see if they're like just going to be here quickly, or do you want to just? It kind of seems like we can go to and from here fairly quickly.
Adesh.
Oh, wait, you are here?
Yes, I came back with the time difference.
Oh, okay. Oh, you left and then you came back. Sorry, I thought you were still gone. Yes, Soraya, hello.
So Raya
Was-
has
was
fallen
there a-
silent.
Was there okay? No follow up to that.
When
Did
oh, sorry. Continue.
no? You. It sounded like Soraya was trying to get my attention.
It was more if you were going to change your plans.
Huh?
Sorry, I thought my gain was high. It was more if you were going to change your plans.
Change my
There was more
plans.
people there.
Oh. Oh. Okay, I gotcha. Sorry. Sorry, Matto, you were saying.
As Motto kind of like comes back in, he kind of comes back, looks around, and is like, okay, well, I dropped off the shield. Steve gave me very weird looks, but we'll answer them later. Anything exciting happened here since I was gone?
Did you seek medical treatment?
Oh no,
Billy.
I'm fine. And like
Bill-
shows because now he's got that crop top action going, and the wounds look fine.
Dilly
Because I spent
hands
time before
Motto a
leaving.
lanyard.
Oh my god, I love this. This looks so good. Puts it on. But you see the wounds, and they're pretty much kind of like okay and patched. All right. Because before Motto even left the Minish world, he was recovering.
You rolled dice, but I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if you can
Flavorly.
just concentrate and just it will just.
I will say for flavor, sure. Mechanically, we know what we did. But he's able to do that and he's fine. Motto has injured himself enough times in general by testing shield that he has like not a lot of ability, but like enough that like he can like kind of patch some things up and then be fine. But either way,
I take it this is not the first shield you've exploded.
no, not even close. There was one time on a mountain that it did not go very well at all. It was
On a
rough.
mountain?
Yeah, because sometimes like there was a time where I was trying to like when I thought I was getting the gliding stuff down like a year or so ago, and I tried doing it. It was like right after the timeline oh my god, what's it called? The merging of the things.
The convergence?
Convergence. Thank you.
That
it
was
like right
a lot
around
more
when the
than over a
convergence.
year ago.
Well, a couple years after the
The restoration is the official
restoration.
term.
Oh,
Thank
my
you.
bad.
It was like right after the restoration where it's like I was like trying to figure out how to like make a shield that could fly and it didn't work and I got really hurt.
It
And-
exploded?
When you land hard enough, yeah.
Okay.
I got a lot better at making shields.
Yeah, we know, yeah.
So they just can't handle that.
All right. Well.
Dilly is currently contemplating the idea that if you hit something hard enough, it will explode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just ask Aruna.
I'm
I
sure.
mean, Aruna and I were, and Aruna and Mado, I feel like we're canonically friends.
I don't think Aruna is the most reliable source on how easily things explode.
I think he's
Actually, I think
the
he's
most reliable
Yeah.
source.
I think
think
that
he's an
Aruna
expert.
will be like, well, if you give it this, it'll explode.
And he knows from experience.
He's not incorrect, but I think for the average person, it's a little harder to make things explode.
Well, sure, but that's their
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Yeah.
I didn't say it wasn't their problem. I'm just saying I'm not going to get the most accurate information for how hard Dilly needs to hit things to make them explode.
So anyway, Mata was gone for like half an hour. So for the three of you that are still there for that half hour, is there anything you guys want to do while you're waiting for Mato to get back?
Well, I think at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, Zaraya, but we need to... It seems like maybe once we have contact with the crystal, we have innate powers, at least within the tier, to come and go as we please, but we should probably test if we can do this, A, in Hyrule outside of any tiers, and B, maybe in a tier we haven't been to, like the Dark One, but I don't know. Where do we stand on the initial experiment here? Because we were not able to like mine a chunk of it or anything, or transfer energy into our water pots. I don't think, right?
Right. So the idea was to get us to find a way to get us to go home. So since we found a way, there's no need to.
Well, we hopefully found a way. That's what I'm saying. We should
Right.
probably test it outside of this tier as much as we
Right.
can. At the very least, that's good to know for Etsy Kurumala. It'll just take 10 minutes of having to find a safe place for 10 minutes. All right, well, I guess we're done here for now then. Fubari, I'm so sorry that you willingly volunteered, but we suggested you should become an electrical conduit in many times. But thank you for all your help. And the fact that you're able to like hear the crystal scream when the guards aren't, maybe tells me that you're a little special here, like we're special where we're from. So maybe see what in your own time, see what you can do with the crystal. See if you see any be my advice. Who knows? Maybe you can visit us where we are.
Full body will try.
Okay, awesome.
I would just like to remind everyone, Dilly definitely handed Fubari a lanyard before.
Yay!
Fubari is very, very happy to have it. She starts just going through various pockets to find things to attach to the lanyard.
Is there a... Sarai, were you able to get everything you needed from this mountain of plants you had Dilly collect? Excellent. Well, I guess we'll just leave him here then.
Yeah, Zara, were you at one point we were talking about you attempting to cultivate plants from within the tier in Hyrule.
Right.
So what is the plan with, because you have this very large pile of literally every piece of vegetation within like 30 yards.
Forgot about the
Right.
deforestation.
Right.
So what
Zariah would have
exactly
gone
do you
through
want?
And looked or taken some cuttings, and if there
Okay.
was any seeds, taken some seeds, and
So yeah, you have seeds from, let's say, half a dozen different plants, you have enough seeds that you could possibly cultivate something, and then let's say about cuttings from a dozen more.
Okay. Probably try to pick out the ones that she knows has different medicinal properties from the book.
I definitely thought that you had changed your mind about all of that, and it just kept Dilly busy.
I mean, two birds.
Yeah. Koraks are later in the timeline. So, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to
I
head
think
back
we're
to the?
probably heading back at this point, right?
Okay. So, after saying goodbye to Fubari yet again, the guards could come back in, seeing the remainder of the deforestation efforts just lying in there. You kind of look at each other. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to clean that, aren't we? Yeah, it looks like we are.
Yeah, bury it to the outside so we could fertilizer.
Okay. And they start dragging stuff away as you all start.
Great to meet you guys. Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
nice
bye.
to meet you too. So you guys all start to feel the familiar sensation.
Gonna use the crystal fast track
Okay.
since we're right here. And
so you-
is it just the platform we're able to go to in Hyrule, or do we have more options?
Thus far, the only thing any of you have done has been go to the platform.
Whenever we
as
get
I-
this sense of like locations, like we get other tiers and stuff, I think, but is there any like non-tier, non-platform places
No.
that show up? Okay.
The only thing that you see in your mind's eye is the tiers that are closest to the tier you're currently in, and the platform itself.
Okey-doke. Well, yeah. All right. Let's go to the platform check-in before we head to the next one.
Okay. So,
Is what I'm thinking when I touch the crystal.
yeah. Suddenly, you guys feel the familiar sensation of the kind of transition from the tier to the debarkation. There's lots of syllables. Debarkation. Platform. And as you get there, again, you see the tech, who seems significantly more kind of aware of everything. Like the first time you guys came back, he was surprised that you came back so quickly. And now he seems very attentive. So as you get there, he looks at you, he's like, so are you returning to the Tia School?
For a little bit, yeah.
All right. And he pushes a few buttons, and you guys are transported back to the Tears Core itself.
Man, technology's really come a long way.
Yep.
So Zariah is going to go to someone in the research lab and see if there's a greenhouse of sorts and give sort of the information that she has about the plants to what are they called? Herbologists?
Sure. So going around, it takes you a while to find anyone, and eventually what you learn is the Tears Core right now is not particularly focused on medicinal properties. The only people that are growing anything are growing for food. So
Find some medicinal plants are food.
so as you kind of meet with them, they do have not inside the Tears Core because space is limited, but just outside the Tears Core, there's some farmland and things like that. And the person that's kind of over seeing everything for like the farming is actually a Goron woman named Pat. And so as you come out, you can see this Goron woman kind of directing a bunch of different people and kind of helping get everything going. Sees you come over. She goes, "Oh, hello. Are you looking for something to eat? The crops are not quite ready yet."
No, I have some different plants that I was hoping to cultivate, but I'm also going to be gone for a bit. And to essentially take over a small plots of land in order to help cultivate them.
What specifically are you looking for? Because we already have a lot of plants here. We might already have something. I don't know why she turned into Kermit the Frog, but I'm going with it.
Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here.
I have some very special seeds and plants. And she kind of takes out a couple, both cuttings and seeds.
Mm-hmm. And Pat starts kind of looking them over and goes, "Ooh, this is very different than I'm used to seeing. Where did you find these?"
A very special area.
She kind of gives you one of those looks like, "So you're going to tell me?"
No.
All right. Well,
And she
How
did
does-
deliberately give her plants that were edible.
okay. And so she kind of just shrugs. She goes, "Well, due to the fact that I don't recognize these plants, I think what would be the most appropriate is we'll just have a little cordoned off section away from everything else in case they become invasive or anything like that.
That's perfect.
So it'll probably take me a day or two to get everything set up for you. So
All right, no worries. Well, I'll find someone else who can also tend to them that's not working on the majority of
don't
the
worry
food.
about it. I've got a great staff here. We can make sure it grows. And with these being different plants, I have no problem looking at them. I always love to see new plants and things like that.
Fantastic. So I will write down some care instructions, potential care instructions that will work, and pass those along to you.
Okay. And she kind
Thank
of
you, Pat.
takes the care instructions, just kind of goes over. And as you're kind of walking back into the Tears Core, you hear this loud thumping sound as she kind of reverts to her more bolder state and starts effectively plowing a new area.
Did any of the plants still have some dirt on them?
I would assume Dilly was not particularly careful when they
So yes.
got them.
Yeah.
So if
Okay.
they do have dirt, it would be, did you want dirt on them? If you did, then they did.
Okay, then yes. So I'm
Okay.
going to try and take the dirt and find out the components, the pH levels, and
Okay. Well, that would
What that
be
is.
something that the Tears Core could help you out
Okay.
with. But you're kind of given the same spiel when you go to the more R&D department of, yeah, we can look into it. It'll take us a few days because we have other stuff that we're doing. But in a few days, we'll be able to tell you what it is.
fantastic. Thank you.
All right. What about the rest of you? Do you have anything you would like to do in particular?
Motto's gonna go back to the workshop and try to fix up that shield, and like essentially remake it.
As you come back, Steve is still like you could see him like just kind of trying to put it back together, and then like he's sitting there and like stacking it, and then it all just falls down. He's like,
Sorry,
and then you
Steve.
come in.
Hey,
I don't understand.
hey,
We
it's
spent
fine.
so much time.
Yeah, I know, and I feel bad about it. Let's just say it's too much electricity doesn't do well for this. So now I've learned. Is there a way that we can? Motto is saying this out loud as a way of vamping, but also as a way because I don't really know how this works as a person. Can we make it that it will ideally at least be able to, like, I guess, withstand certain electrical things? I feel like having a lightning rod on a gliding shield is probably not the best thing, but
Well, Steve suggests the equivalent of a breaker between the charging port and the battery. So
I like
if
that
too
plan.
much energy goes through. Like just your standard old. If I say the term tube fuses, do you know what I'm referring to?
no, but I think I do.
Yeah, they're old. New
Yeah, but old
breakers and
radios
stuff like
just-
that have like switches and
Ah.
that. The old ones literally had a resistor in it that if too much electricity went through, the resistor would just burn out, and it would break the.
I like that plan. That sounds safe.
Well, safer.
As
There's
Safer.
opposed
reasons
to,
they don't
as
use-
opposed to the lightning rod.
I don't know things in general. And that's not Motto saying it. Just me.
It will also. I will also point out that means that if for whatever reason a fuse gets blown, the shield fuse
Okay.
because
That
that's
seems-
how.
That
It
that
works.
seems like a fair trade-off in
Okay.
that situation. But it doesn't matter because I can still do the thing regardless. I would just need to wind it manually again.
Yes.
So that's not a huge concern at the moment.
Should make it like one of those flashlights that you have to shake in order to get it to turn on.
You get
It's
one
a
of the
giant
little.
shield that he has to shake.
Like, okay, let's go.
It takes
Boing!
both arms and a lot of
No, that would be what we'd have to do. Yeah, that's fine.
Mano
I-
just walks around every tier now, going. "Grr, grr."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's a solid plan.
Fun fact: theoretically, I think that's possible because it would use the same mechanism that like
alternator
windmills
would
and
use.
hydroelectric power use, where you just take copper and a magnet, and when you put them together, they create electricity.
Yeah. I guess I think that would be the best sort of thing for right now. I'm just gonna work on that and then
Okay.
pretty much.
So
Over
again,
the next couple days.
fact that you have to develop a fuse system and everything means again is going to take a few days before.
That's
and
fine.
fabricating a brand new shield, you're looking at probably a week's worth of work before you have everything completed.
That's fine. I think that's worth going.
When I get back to the tier core,
Sure.
I pull out whatever it's called. Be like, Kess, come in. Over.
You
Hello?
hear Kess's voice. Yes.
Oh, hello. We're back again. All of us this time. we're fully returned. We were doing some back and forth experimentation. Turns out when we go back to a tier, we don't need to touch the crystal to come back. Can't remember if I told you this already, but maybe. Anyway, if we just think really hard on leaving, we can pretty much just leave, but it takes longer. But the crystal makes it faster. We were not able to harvest, as I brought up before. So we want to test out these sort of just thinking really hard theories. Right now, after I hang up, I'm going to try it here. But then B, in the next tier where we haven't touched a crystal, we're gonna probably want to try that there, because there was no way for us to like harvest part of the crystal to use portably like our original theory. So that's our update. Also, we met someone while we were in that tier who might be like the tier version of like a tier walker type, where they like interact special with their crystal. So maybe like that's how SU Kormala is able to like, send people outside. They found people with the name mark or whatever, and they can sort of, they figured out how to leave, but we didn't figure out how to get her to leave. That's the update for now. Over.
The long pause. Suddenly you hear, we have multiple conference rooms.
I'm
Over?
just enjoying that Adesh told Kess he met someone.
The entire thing, and that's the segment you.
Well, and again, they haven't developed a channel system yet for these devices because they're still relatively new.
So
So
that went to everyone.
anyone that has one of these devices just heard that entire conversation.
Adesh just told everyone he met someone.
Yeah, but that's context, Dilly.
Every
Okay.
so often, as you walk around the Tears Core, you have someone go, "So happy for you, man."
What do you mean?
Billy's like, I just didn't know the two of you were like that, but
What are you
congratulations.
talking about? The
I'm
two
gonna
of
go
who?
get some fish. And Dilly leaves to go find some food. And also to talk to that one person again about all of their adventures. We're still working on the fanboy, basically.
Oh, right.
Before you were even able to request anything, there is a plate of this time the fish of the day is a maple glazed salmon
Ah,
with a risotto.
it's new. Thank you. Yeah.
And your fanboy is listening intently, taking notes.
Dilly's just like, so we were over there and we did really important things. So we gathered lots of plants, for some reason Zoraya had like plant powers at the time. And I touched the crystal and we were experimenting with it, and that's what caused this. And Dilly holds up the changed tier and just keeps going on like that. Well,
Every word hanging on it asks like qualifying questions. Then what happened? Really? That's amazing.
Dilly starts showing them how to make a lanyard.
Again, very detailed notes. They take out a little like pocket set square kind of thing and start doing little measurements in that.
This guy is creating a wiki of our adventures. We're gonna have to go back and reference it at some point.
That's what Dilly's gonna do for a few days.
Okay. So how long do you guys want to stay before you head off to the Shadow Tier is the only other quote unquote mission that you guys have set up. So if you want to do something other than that, you just have to kind of talk to Kiki Kess and iron out the details of it.
So I was gonna ask Cass like if we're ready, but if we need a few more days to develop or fix shields or plants or whatever, then we'll just communicate, I guess, however much time we need.
Okay.
Was it about a
So-
week, you said?
It's a week is the longest kind of period of time that any of your projects are going to take, and that's for Motto. So if you guys want to chill here for a week, you can. It's up to you guys. So what do you want to do?
I assume you would like that full-time motto.
I'll take as long as I can. Ideally, yeah. If it's not feasible, we'll figure it out.
All right. So over the next few days, Zariah, the first thing that comes back is after barely like a day, like the next morning, you wake up and you get a message from someone asking you to come back to one of the science labs. And when you get there, they basically give you a rundown of the soil, which for the most part wasn't massively shocking. Like, it was really nice, nutrient-rich soil, but there was an aspect of it that they couldn't really identify at first. Until they started using some of the more advanced. They had, like, on a whim, they went, well, what happens if, because they have an entire department now whose job is to kind of examine teardrops and stuff like that. And so they went, well, what happens if we just use some of the tools that we use to measure, like, the power levels of teardrops? And there is, the bits of soil and stuff that you brought with you, there is a low level, there's a low level of energy relatively similar but not exact to the energy that they find into the tears, just kind of inherent in the soil itself. So that was the only really shocking thing that was discovered.
Okay, so getting that information during the times where I was still going to do research with the plant, she's going to take one of her tiers and basically isolate one of the areas even further and use it like the citrus nutrient sticks, if you've ever seen or used
That's actually
those.
not something I'm familiar with.
So they are, if you live in an urban area, they are literally sticks of nutrients that you stick into the ground, and as you water it over time, they release some of the vitamins.
Makes sense. So
It's like a
You want-
Flintstones pill for the ground.
Sure.
Do you know the Flintstone vitamins as a kid?
Yes. Yeah.
1,000,000 strong and growing.
Oh, apparently I really don't like that.
Had a visceral reaction to a jingle.
Yeah.
I mean, I get
apparently
that.
I'm fine with the Cars for Kids jingle, but apparently that one like set something off. Huh.
They were.
Okay.
It was a weird time. I wonder if they still advertise those. I wonder if they still exist. They've got to have Flintstone vitamins still, right?
I don't know if the Flintstones are popular enough. It might have changed to Bluey or something.
Bluey,
Maybe.
Pokemon.
Pokemon vitamins.
I think they did
Your
that at one
Pikachu
point.
today.
That we told, or maybe SpongeBob vitamins. That could be a thing.
I mean, apparently it's the brand, so it is FlintstonesVitamins.com.
Wow.
Like, and it says Flintstones TM. So, yeah, they still sell Flintstones vitamins.
Interesting. Leave it to Hanna-Barbera. They made some lasting stuff. Anyway, So the question I have for you, Zariah, which tier do you want to use as your nutrient stick?
Well, I only have the one teardrop.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Were they able to mine off a lot of the crystal that we have?
Um, yes and no. They were able, a lot of times, when they would mine things off, uh, it would shatter. Like they've got lots of crystal dust. Let's put
Perfect.
it that
Then
way.
what she'll do is she'll instead have that sort of like in essentially think of it like a salt shaker, a giant salt shaker. She can give the directions to basically feed it that way.
Okay.
Mix it into some soil.
I will say, one of the things that they've discovered about the kind of core crystal, is unlike the teardrops that they've been studying, the core crystal itself does not have kind of an inherent energy signature to it.
Okay. Well then Zari only has one teardrop, so she'll use that.
Okay. So when you go out to talk to Pat, as she sees you, you can see she has a bit of a sullen expression on her face. And so she comes over and she's like, well, sorry to tell you, the plants don't seem to be doing very well. It's only been a few days, so maybe they'll perk up later. But right now, they just seem to be not happy.
So Zari wouldn't have left the plants alone. She would have been there like testing and checking and
Okay. So over the past few days, they're not dying or anything. They just don't seem to be taking
they don't look happy.
to the soil.
Mm.
And if they continue, they'll probably end up withering away and dying. So she goes, so I mean, I've tried a lot of different things. I've mixed some different fertilizers in there. I actually went and had one of they're trying to. There's this guy who works with your friend, the tall one that uses the shields. Anyway, they've been playing around with electricity and things like that, and I've discovered, like after a lightning storm, the plants just perk up. So I actually had him just have a little bit of lightning cast, see if we can't get the plants to perk up. The rest of them, they turned real vibrant green and they were doing very well. But for whatever reason, these plants
It's
just
not
don't-
easy being green.
Not easy being green.
So you shocked the plants that are
No,
now
no,
not
not the-
doing
the-
well.
Not the plants. I just had some kind of lightning go off around them.
All right. So you had electrical discharge around these plants that are now not doing well versus the other plants that didn't have electrical discharge.
No, the other
Are doing
plants
fine.
had electrical discharge as well, and they're doing great.
Other plants like the other plants from here or specifically
Yeah.
my seeds?
Like the pumpkins and
All right, fantastic. Then what we're going to try is some of this. I don't know what it will do to people who are not tier walkers, so please be very careful when you're using this. Try mixing some into the soil, and we'll section it off and do different quantities, and then we'll have one that we'll do periodically, like every day. See if you can sprinkle a little bit on it versus it resting in the soil. And then if you could do me a favor and also take each of the areas that we've quarantined off with these different methods and just provide some to the R&D department, that will hopefully show some change in the soil.
okay, so from my understanding,
Yes.
you want to section off different places and use the kind of crystal power powder. Did you also want to use the teardrop, or do you want to hold on to that and see what the crystal powder does?
No, also use a teardrop.
Okay. And so, standard scientific, you'll have a control and then a bunch of other different sections. Cool.
Yep, and she's gonna give Pat some more seeds, and then let her know who she can contact if she needs more powder, because if it's doing well.
Okay, cool. So Pat goes, okay, that sounds good. And then
Thank
she,
you. I'll have Lottie make you some scones.
that would be lovely.
With pebbles, what kind of rocks do you like?
I tend to be a shale fan. It's nice and crunchy, and
Alright, I'll let her know.
it's not good for you, but can't help but just love the crunch.
Periodic treat, I understand.
What did you just say?
A periodic treat?
Oh, my brain heard periodic treat, and I'm like, what?
That is what I heard, except dictate.
Oh.
Hey, what?
Periodictate.
I was just thinking about how apparently shale is the Doritos for Gorons.
Fritos.
Yeah.
You know? Igneous is basically the like I can't remember what it's called. Wow.
I don't
brain
know
just-
why I thought the LSD of rocks.
No.
I don't think
Puppy
all
chow, that's what
volcanic
it said.
rocks.
I kept
are-
thinking dog food, and I'm like, it's not that. It's puppy chow. I don't know if you guys call it puppy chow, but in Wisconsin we call it puppy chow.
Not a lot of
Yeah,
places
Anthony's
outside
mom.
of Wisconsin have puppy chow.
Because
California
it's
doesn't.
because it's nasty.
What are you talking about? All right, what do you think puppy chow is?
It's like essentially Chex Mix with peanut butter and powdered sugar and chocolate and like
How is that not good?
I don't like peanut butter
Oh, well, that would
with
that would-
chocolate together.
I mean, yeah, that sounds good to me.
Wait, did not hear about puppy chow until moving to Wisconsin.
It's a big thing here. Like
Yeah.
at parties and everything. It's you eat it.
Yep.
Definitely
And
needs
ice
a-
cream cones, the
it's a
bugles with
rebrand.
the M&Ms and icing.
Wisconsin is not really known for its health conscious food.
Was it lime? Do you call it lime jello or lime salad, or do you call it? What's the other name for it?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't remember, but it's whipped cream and Jello and
yeah, green
and-
jello and marshmallows and
Yeah,
Holy
there's a
crap.
name for it, and I can't remember
salad.
what it's called. It's
like
It's
green
absolutely
salad,
horrible
lime
for
salad.
you. It should never be called a salad,
they love
but
it
it
so
is.
much. The
I
first
mean-
time I went for Thanksgiving, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll have some lime salad," and I'm like, "Fantastic! I love limes and love salads." And they gave me this blob of green stuff, and I'm like,
That's not. Nothing about this is like. There's not even lime in here. That's.
It's lime jello.
"It's lime jello."
Yeah.
But that has no lime in it. It's all esters.
Anyway, yes, weird things.
Cannibal sandwiches.
Everyone loves
They are. And I know. I know a dude. He was
It's
dating a friend of mine.
tiger, is what it's called.
Is that what they call them here?
Yeah, they're not
What
just
is?
cannibal sandwiches. They're like tiger burgers or something.
For anyone that doesn't know, a cannibal sandwich.
I have no idea
is-
what you're talking about.
It is raw ground beef. I've seen people put onions on it, raw onions as well, and you just eat it in a sandwich.
Is
And
the
then
bread
dye
raw
of
too, or like what?
Yeah. Also known as tiger meat.
It's
Yeah.
a thing.
I feel like that was an alpha frat boys kind of woke up and
No,
didn't want to
but-
cook.
I mean,
Here's
so
the
is
thing.
Jungle Juice.
Yes.
It is such a Wisconsin thing that they literally health whatever says every year, please don't eat these, and Wisconsin says, I'm going to eat them.
This is the same place where New Year's Day they chisel out holes in the ice and jump into them nearly naked. They call it a polar plunge.
So, in short, please help find me a job in California.
She does not want a job in Wisconsin for many, many reasons. Other popular food items in Wisconsin include the Butterburger, cheese curds,
Whataburger.
both deep fried and fresh.
One of my favorite things is that it's illegal to serve margarine on a table at a restaurant unless the guests specifically ask for margarine.
Which is fantastic because it's so
Yeah.
bad for you.
Yeah. Well, it's to protect the dairy interest. That's the point of it.
And to have
It-
people actually enjoy their food.
Well, that too. And then every year at the Wisconsin State Fair, they sell literally millions of what are called cream puffs, which is basically kind of a croissant style bread kind of thing with just loads of whipped cream in it.
Yes.
And they are amazing. Then you put powdered sugar on them. They are wonderful.
Yes, those are French and they are quite popular everywhere
Yes.
because whipped cream. It's
Yes.
cream.
But
Oh, fried pickles, yeah.
What is
can-
it?
Those
Profiteroles?
in Texas.
we, I think, if I remember correctly, the Wisconsin State Fair was the first place where they had deep fried Snickers as well.
Ugh.
So we are remarkably good at deep frying things that are bad for you.
Is Wisconsin the first place to deep fry butter?
It would
I
not
think that
surprise
was
me.
Texas.
I've had deep fried water here too. Like that's a thing.
So that
And we have fried ice cream.
It was Texas.
Though I think
you are
that's
correct,
a-
Shax.
Yeah.
I think fried ice cream is just a Mexican thing. It's good. It's really good. If you've never had deep fried ice cream,
I don't think I've ever had it. I've seen it before.
tasty.
Yeah. Overrated
I don't need the fried part.
for me.
I'm like, the ice cream's good enough. Why am I going to add that thing to it? No thanks.
Because it makes it crunchy.
I don't need that. Put
That's
on
why
the
I
magic
add,
shell
like-
chocolate syrup.
Chocolate
almond.
chips or Reese's parts or something.
I mix the chocolate syrup in so my ice cream is a soup. I make it even smoother.
I mean, my ice cream eventually
I love
becomes soup.
Mostly melted ice cream. That is my favorite. I don't eat ice cream until it melts. Pretty much.
I like it better when
Still-
it's fresh.
Well,
but-
fresh ice cream is different than just scooping it
Yeah.
out of a container.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even still, like just in its barely solid form instead of soup form, I prefer it.
Yes.
I don't
soft
want
serve?
it like real like dripping viscosity.
Non-soup,
It needs-
pre-soup
I don't want it
form
room
ice cream is what I'm
temperature.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needs to
Yes.
be it needs to be on the more soupy side than the hard side.
When you
Yes.
make ice cream, when you first create
How
it,
did that happen?
before like setting it in the freezer to get really really cold, when it's first created, it's called soft serve, and that's what soft serve ice cream. That's the real kind of smooth stuff. And then you can freeze it, and it becomes the more kind of traditional stuff that you put on cones and that. We had a place in the town I went to high school in that made all of their ice cream in house, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah, there's tons of those places here. In San
Also,
Diego.
frozen custard is massive all
Frozen
over Wisconsin.
custard. We don't. That's not a thing here. A popular thing here.
It's
I like
so good, guys.
Custard.
It's
Culver's.
So what else are we doing?
anyway. We're talking about Wisconsin food. That's what it is.
Because I will participate in the side quest as much as the other people,
So-
but
After a few days, after about 3 or 4 days of Motto working intently on recreating his shield, and the rest of you guys doing your various things, since you started your experiment, let's say on the second day, after the first day, Zariah, there's really not a whole lot of change. By the second day, most of the ones with various levels of crystal powder are actually doing a little bit worse. However, the one that is near your teardrop specifically has not just started looking better, it has started growing exponentially faster than any other plants in the area.
Fantastic. Then she is going to try to see if any of the plants are small enough where they can move closer to that area and cease the powdered crystal experiment.
Okay. It takes Pat has an idea that moving the plants in the state that they're in will probably kill them. Moving the teardrop itself would probably be
Oh,
significantly
rotate it
easier.
around. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Pat. Thank you.
So, yeah. For the rest of you,
Oh.
after
Sorry, idea. Can we put it in the watering system? Water for the plants.
sure, in order to do that, you won't be able to put it in the soil since you only have one. So,
Right, so it's another experiment.
okay, sure.
It's in the water.
In order to do that, it'll take her another day to kind of figure out logistically wise, because she's flat out said that she doesn't want any of this stuff interacting with the regular plants that they're growing for food. For probably the biggest reason of that is she's relatively sure Lottie will kill her if she doesn't get access to really nice fresh produce. But in order to kind of come up with a system to do that in a measurable, scientific way, for lack of a better term, it's going to take another day or so to kind of create everything. So for the next day, she's just going to kind of rotate the thing while she creates a closed irrigation system to be able to use this. Because even just putting it in water and watering it theoretically the water could seep into the groundwater and stuff like that and cause issues. So, so for the rest of you,
Well, but theoretically, having the crystal in the soil would do the same thing because the nutrients would spread out over time, especially with watering. Sorry, you gave me a chance to experiment. Like 4 weeks in a row. Just tell me to stop.
I'm sure
Which
we'll continue
miss being
whenever
a
we're in the
researcher.
dead tier.
Yeah.
Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
do research?
I
didn't
did,
know that.
yeah. For 3 years. So for
Wow.
SLHS. I miss it so much. I know. Sorry.
What kind of? Well, we're getting close to time,
Yep.
so you'll tell me about your research some other time. All right. So again, after about the 3 or 4 days, you suddenly, all of you, get a message that you need to come to the main mission room immediately.
Copy that. Over.
Okay.
So
All
you
right.
all get there, and you can see, in addition to Kess and a couple other members of the Tears Course staff, you see a man that most of you don't recognize. Motto, you do. This is the mayor of, is it Hateno? Is where your shield
Yes,
shop was? Yeah.
Hateno.
Hateno. So the mayor of Hateno is here, and you haven't had a ton of interactions with him, but he came into the shop every so often. He was not a shield surfer, but he always made his rounds being the mayor. And he looks not just disheveled, like you can see, like the robes that he's wearing are kind of dirty and damaged. He does not look great. And as you all could come in, he's having a very kind of serious conversation with Kess. And as you all come in, they seem to continue having the conversation, almost oblivious to the fact that you guys are there.
Hello.
Oh. I guess I will leave it to you. Guess I must let's figure out something. And you see him start kind of wandering off.
Before he goes off, did this mayor have a name, Jody?
Of course, he has a name.
Would I know his name?
Absolutely, you're a great salesman. In fact, you can tell me what his name is. You're such a good salesman. You would
You're
know.
gonna regret that.
Save
Mayor
him from the
Shin?
fantasy
That-
name generator.
You say
Yeah,
Shin?
well, then Yep, Mayor Shin.
Cool.
We're going music, man. Mayor Shin? Is that you?
Oh. And he kind of looks at you and he takes his glasses off and he cleans them. Mado, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
it would
what
be.
happened? Are you okay?
I think it would be best if Kess tells you. I need to sit down. Kess knows everything. I'll talk to you later. And he just
Okay.
wanders off.
Okay.
Kess.
You
Sorry.
know that guy?
He's the mayor of Ateno Village, where I grew up. That's
That
where my
guy's a
shop-
mayor?
Yeah. That's Mayor Shin.
He looks
He's-
like they found him outside.
Well,
I mean,
You have to
technically,
go-
everyone is found outside.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
there's a
He looked a little
building.
worse for rare for considering he's a mayor.
yeah, which makes me a little concerned.
Oh, yeah. Well, yep, good point. Anyway, yes, we're here.
So Kess is kind of running around a little more manic than normal, and you see her just kind of going to various places and picking up documents and that, and eventually she comes forward and she spreads out a bunch of different maps on the table. One of the maps is just an overall map of Hyrule that she immediately starts kind of placing markers on in various places. And another one is particularly of the region around Hateno village, which she also starts placing markers around in various spots. She, after about 10 minutes of her kind of doing everything, she goes, so, we may have a problem. The Kurimalans are back, and they've attacked Hateno.
That explains that. Are they still there?
No, here, let me show you. And she starts pointing to these various places. Each one of these places, the town found devices that they didn't really recognize. The mayor was good enough to realize that contacting the Tears Corps was a good idea. Unfortunately, before we could investigate anything, the devices erupted, for lack of a better term. Some strange energy came out of them that we've never seen before, and anyone nearby doesn't exist.
Was it?
I don't mean that they were vapor. There's nothing there. There's no residue. There's nothing.
Okay,
The terrain itself is completely unharmed.
so maybe they were teleported.
Wait, so the town is not damaged, but anyone in the radius is gone.
Well, after they erupted, the Koromolans came back, and there was combat. So they came back for the devices. The townsfolk attempted to stop them. it did not go well for the townsfolk. Half the city is on fire, and they're missing about 2 or 3 dozen people are currently unaccounted for.
Okay, did they take hostages? Or is that just from the device?
Just from the devices, there was no quarter given.
Okay, are we equipped?
We need to go.
Where?
I gotta go there. I need to go there.
Okay. I was going to ask if we're equipped in any way to provide any relief effort, or if
Well,
there's any.
I've sent a contingent of guards along with a few of our medical staff to see if they can help, but I can't send that many people via the teleportation, so it's going to take them at least a few days to get there.
Okay.
We had this special ability, Mom, that changed that I think Dash told you about. Can we experiment with that?
I was going to say that I was going to try and do that during that 4-day
Fantastic.
break, but didn't really come up.
Yeah, if you did
Too
attempt to
too
do
busy
that during
talking
the
about
4-day
ice cream.
Yeah, if you didn't do that during the 4-day break, you do not have the ability to
That's
kind
what I
of will
figured.
yourself
Yeah.
anywhere and hide the roll. It seems to be something unique to being inside a tier.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We should go check it out, I guess. I'm sure you've already thought of this, but if there is a way to put the word out to other settlements, where if they find something like that was described, to try and let us, the tier core, know immediately, so that it can prevent it from discharging and incur the wrath of the SD Core Mullins. So we can get ahead of it next time.
That was the intention. The problem is, how can I say this? The Tears Core is not looked upon fondly right now. After the attacks and other things that have been going on, there have been questions, requests of the various leaders of the various kingdoms that we be shut down. They think that what we're doing is far too dangerous and is exposing all of Hyrule to danger. Yes, Dilly? You're muted.
You're muted.
Even Kess knows.
Dilly takes a moment to pause. What are the other things?
Well, in an attempt to create a warning system, let's say, we've been sending groups out to create remote outposts and observation outposts, things like that. And let's just say in certain places, it has not gone over particularly well. The Gerudo got rather upset with us, felt that we were infringing on sovereign territory. We had a similar but slightly less serious interaction with the Zora. Zulta was able to smooth things over, but she did use a lot of goodwill that she had built up over the years.
Oh, goodwill. Okay.
Uh-oh.
There's a lot of desiccated corpses. No, she used a lot
I
of.
was gonna say she used a lot of entropy, so smoothing things over is just destroying people. No,
Zulta-
goodwill is good.
Therapy has done wonders for Zulta. It really has. She doesn't like draining the life out of things is the second choice she normally thinks of now, which is a massive, massive thing. So,
The first one is the taser she acquired as a preemptive warning.
you're not wrong,
I know.
but
I've seen it. Experienced it, really.
Oh.
It's a step forward. You always celebrate forward movement. That's
Agreed.
what we do.
Zalta wouldn't use corporal punishment on their own children. They would use it in front of their children on other people.
Yes, but you would have a taser available near you and you have children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Just drain a little bit of their energy when it's nap time.
Sleep.
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 Imagine
my
Salta
precious
got very good at just controlling it just the right amount to get them to go to sleep.
All these children are gonna die early. Because they don't know what's bad at them.
She's giving them energy back.
Yeah, they don't know the
especially when
long-term
she sends them
effects
to birthday parties when she doesn't like the parents. Then she just gives them a little extra energy.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like loading the kid up with caffeine and sugar before the party.
And having them crash at the party.
There's no CPS in Hyrule, right?
Give it 10 more years.
There will be.
There's an HR department, so
Yeah.
why not?
So
Zolta loves her children.
In
so as
murderous ways.
all this is going on, Kes goes, but if this goes well, then maybe
Yeah.
we can start building some goodwill.
Yeah,
I think if we were to send the tier walkers to officially help, that might be a bigger deal, though.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea for us to go for multiple reasons. And after this, if you need us to save face anywhere else, let us know. But being willing to send, personnel and relief to people who have affected, especially when antagonists from our domain are involved. Yeah, probably a good idea. We should definitely still be on the lookout for people or towns that might find similar or the same kind of devices, so that we can try and maybe set up an ambush for the Etsu Cormolans next time.
We're putting the word out. Like I said, the biggest problem is just people are not particularly trusting. Maybe this will be what it is. I've been having the medical teams set up, call them rescue packs right now. Instead of your normal kind of loadout for tier walking, these are going to contain significantly more salves, bandages, rations, things like that can be used for more humanitarian efforts. We'll have them waiting for you when you get to the teleportation room. Is there anything else that you all think would be useful for you to have?
Matto, this is your town. Can you think of anything?
I don't think Motto has anything else, because I think his first thought is the shop and his family.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not think anything comes to mind, because his first priority is worry about his family and the business that gave him what he does. I think he's too deep into that for him to do anything or to say anything else at the moment. So he just says no.
Okay. Then, yeah, I guess we should go pretty quick.
All right, so you guys are given your rescue packs. You're taken to the kind of main teleportation room.
I'll have gone back into my normal form.
Okay. And yeah, for the rest of you guys, feel free to pick the focus that you want before you go.
Zora is staying in our Etsu Cormala.
Okay.
I will. I I will switch to the Etsukori Malifor. Actually, no. I'll stay in my normal Hyrule form.
Okay. And then Dilly.
I'll stay in normal form.
Okay. So, all of you gather there. You feel the familiar feeling of teleportation, and within an instant, you go from the kind of almost artificial smelling air that you're used to in the Tears Core to all of you immediately have to start kind of holding back coughs as you're surrounded by acrid air and smoke. Your eyes burn a little bit, and you look over, and you can still see in some places fires burning. Probably the most prominent building in the town is it's a large building with a very large shield on it with the words "Shields Up." Half of the roof doesn't exist. There are holes throughout all the walls, and there's a fairly big fire burning on the other side.
Mato just runs towards it.
Unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for today.
No.
As always, if you missed any of this, you can watch all of them right here on twitch.tv/ZeldaUniverse.tv. Otherwise, again, it's all for us today. We will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.